So I've been thinking about anger a lot lately and how anger seems to be like addictive. I feel like it's almost on the level of, you know, an illegal substance. It's a narcotic. I feel like, you know, cell phone usage is up to the point of being on the same level of cigarette smoking when tobacco usage was at its peak. And I think that says something, and it's probably directly related to like all of our anger, this increased rage. I mean, it's documented statistical fact. Data that has been collected globally has proven that society is actually a lot angrier than it was. A lot angrier today than it was a decade ago. We are a lot angrier over the last 20 years. That increase has amounted to about a quarter of the population feeling that they are angry at any given day. That's like 20 to 23% of the world's population feels that they are angry. Public health polls tracked reveal that like 84% of people believe society is visibly angrier today than a single generation ago. So just, what? What do we measure generations by? 15 years, 20 years? Depending on where you are, what part of the world you're in, they're generally between 15 and 25 years. So in that time span, globally, 84% of the population out there believe that we are more angry, and statistically, data shows that at any given time, almost a quarter of the planet is pissed off. So where does this take us? Why is this happening? I mean, as a person who deals with the internet all the time, who has multiple channels on this platform, who has a digital online social media presence that it forces them to actively engage with people. I encounter that all the time. There are people that come here that want to rage and they want to harass and they want to bully. They have some sort of deep-seated insecurities, some of their own issues that need to be worked out through therapy or whatever it may be. But the only way that they know how to deal with it is by trying to cause somebody else anguish. This is like griefing, right? It even happens in video games. The fact that there's a term now, griefing, says a lot to me. In my day, and I'm not that old, but we didn't have a term like that. You know what I mean? Like, to go out of your way to make somebody's life harder and more miserable seems like you must be a pretty sad, pathetic, miserable person. People who are like that are usually trying to bring you down to their level. Now, if we were like to look at like what's going on, I mean, we have social media, doom scrolling, all that interplays and everything, right? Content triggers rage. And as we talked about before, the human mind gets a bigger kick out of rage. So like moral outrage spreads 6 times faster than positive content, meaning if you make somebody upset, if you cause some kind of moral outrage, you have a chance of your stuff going viral 6 times faster. Recent global history, tying, back as far as, let's just say, like even within the last decade, looking back at like the pandemic time and sort of like what we have with rising inflation, housing affordability, and I guess you could say rising international geopolitical conflicts, right? I mean, we've got issues with canals, we've got issues with land disputes. This has stripped people of their sanity, man. I think what happens is that like you always walk around in like a fight or flight mode. You're always on guard. You're on edge, right? And a part of our brain is very primitive. Like we're built for that. That is the brain's way of dealing with it. That is our coping mechanism. We are afraid and we feel a lack of control. So that's what happens. We become angry, but that anger has to go somewhere. So we lash out. And the internet is an easy place to do that, right? It's almost free of consequence. It's very hard to track you down. There's a lot of anonymity, and the person that you're lashing out at might actually be somebody that you have no real interest in. They're just there. Wrong place, wrong time, and you've got a whole lot of rage in you. Because anger is addictive. Anger is like a drug. Rage is a drug. I mean, is it easier to hate or is it easier to love? And what gets society further? What gets humanity further along? War is more profitable. I know that much for sure. And war is usually the result of anger. So why are we at war all the time? Whatever happened to being my brother's keeper?